generation. Europe, of course, searching for ideas on tackling the rising tide of the youth unemployment.
Let's start, though, with what could be a significant development in the Syrian conflict. The United States says that it's increasing the scope and scale of military support for opposition forces in Syria. This after it concluded that President Assad's regime has used chemical weapons, including the nerve gas sarin, against its own people. The White House estimates that between 100 and 150 people have died from detected chemical attacks in Syria to date. From Washington, David Willis reports.
Of the many images from Syria's protracted civil war, these have been among the most disturbing. Hospital patients twitching and foaming at the mouth. Children suffering respiratory and vision problems. It now appears such symptoms may indeed be the result of chemical weapons, as the Syrian opposition has claimed. The United States says it has conclusive evidence that chemicals, including the nerve agent sarin, were used against opposition forces many times in the course of the last year.
It is now conclusive that Bashar Assad and the Syrian butchers have used chemical weapons, which is, as we all know, a red line which the President of the United States announced that Bashar Assad cannot cross.
President Obama always said proof of chemical weapons would be a game changer in Syria, and despite his apparent reluctance to be drawn into another conflict in the Middle East, he's now been left with little option but to bolster US support for the rebels at a time when they appear to be in danger of being overrun by the forces of President Bashar al-Assad. Last week's recapture of the strategic town of Qusair by government forces is seen as an indication of how the ground has shifted in favour of the Assad regime, thanks to the support it's received from Iranian-backed Hezbollah fighters. With another rebel stronghold, Aleppo, also under threat, opposition fighters have said they're in dire need of weapons and ammunition. The Obama administration has promised military support for the rebels, but has yet to say what form that support will take. The White House says it will share the intelligence assessments it's received with Congress, the United Nations and key international allies. There have already been calls, though, from some on the right for airstrikes and the creation of a no-fly zone. The administration's response, however, is likely to be more conservative and definitely won't include the deployment of American troops on the ground. David Willis, BBC News, Washington.